Well, hey folks, welcome to my YouTube channel, Self-Evident. My essay today is what might the technobrats really be up to? I want to share with you an essay I wrote just a little over a year ago on March 10th, 2025 to be exact. And I'll get to it after a short preamble to catch us up to an alarming bit of news that has surfaced only yesterday. That would be March 15th, 2026. I assume most people are aware of the strain on oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz as the United States of Israel wages war on Iran. The news that concerns me and ties into my essay of a year ago is that Iran is claimed to allow oil tankers by other countries to pass through their rather crooked strait as long as the cargo is traded in Chinese yuan. Yikes. If you don't understand what this means, then please take a moment and brush up on the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. Briefly, as World War II was winding down, the US dollar was established as the world's reserve currency. In 1971, Richard Nixon removed the US dollar off the gold standard. In 1973, there was an embargo by Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, raising prices for gas at the pump to alarming rates. And I used to work at my grandpa's gas station, and I can testify that the prices jumped up alarmingly. As a reaction to that, the U.S. negotiated an agreement with the OPEC nations to only sell their oil using U.S. dollars in exchange for U.S. weapons and technology. This became known as the petrodollar, and it was established in the early 1970s, and it further solidified the U.S. dollar as a world reserve currency and the United States as a global hegemony until now. And I put a question mark there because I just don't know. Now, my article, what I'm reading now, is from March the 10th, 2025, a little over a year ago. This was just shortly after he took office and was elected in November, took office somewhere in January. March, yeah. Going on the premise that rich people are never rich enough, did Howard Hughes actually say, when asked how much money is enough, just a little bit more? Or was that John D. Rockefeller? In the movie Wall Street Never Sleeps, Michael Douglas's character Gordon Gekko says, "It's not about the money, it's the game." Is it possible Elon Musk feels there's just a little bit more money to grab? Or does he think owning the president of the most powerful country in the world is the ultimate high? How about Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg? These three of the world's richest billionaires stood behind Trump, literally at the inauguration just a few short weeks ago. A much bigger list of billionaires orbited close by, either literally or metaphorically. Why would these Silicon Valley, formerly left-leaning technobrats back cognitively challenge Donald Trump, high priest of the MAGA cult? Tax cuts for the rich? Probably. Oh, forgot about that. Yes, but there has to be more to it than that. And I believe the BRICS Alliance of Nations is the reason. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates joined the BRICS alliance in 2024. Belarus, Bolivia, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Thailand, Cuba, Malaysia, Uganda, and Uzbekistan are set to join also. Yuri Yushkov, a senior aide to Russian President Vladimir Putin, announced that 23 countries have formally applied to join the BRICS alliance in 2025. And well, now it's 2026, so we'll see how that's going. The latest BRICS summit was in Kazan, Russia in October 24. The 2025 summit was in Brazil. The benign stated goal of the BRICS alliance is to make it easier to trade with each other, and not so benign, not in U.S. dollars. The Bretton Woods, New Hampshire Agreement in 1944 established the U.S. dollar as a world's reserve currency. Along with being the world's military superpower, the U.S. has enjoyed a global hegemony for better or worse. Is that decided advantage coming to an end? One has to consider the heft of the combined populations of those aforementioned BRICS countries and fret at the possibility they may also be quietly forming a BRICS military alliance. We will leave that part unexamined for this article. The logical projection of the unwieldy number of currencies under the BRICS umbrella suggests they will certainly have to arrive at one common currency. Being as how cryptocurrencies are the thing nowadays, it's possible, maybe probable, that a BRICS-sanctioned global cryptocurrency is being forged in the fires of Mordor as you read this. one crypto coin to rule them all. A recent Council of Foreign Relations article suggests as much. From the CFR article, can a BRICS currency replace the dollar? The BRICS countries have sought to reduce the primacy of the US dollar in international trade for more than a decade, primarily by increasing the use of their own currencies for trading, especially China's renminbi. That's a hard word to say, the yuan. They're not exactly the same, but look it up, they're more or less the same. The yuan is what we're talking about right now. There's also a push to introduce a new BRICS-wide currency, of which Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is a major proponent. Other monetary proposals laid out in 2023 summit include founding a new cryptocurrency or using a combined basket of currencies. Now, this is from a CFR article, and they're literally saying a new cryptocurrency, BRICS sanctioned cryptocurrency. So I'm not making that up. That's just not my projection. I did project it, and I did do research, and lo and behold, it just makes sense. The reason it makes sense is because Elon Musk and all these other techno brats, they have no loyalty to our country. None of they do. That's why all the big factories moved over to China, moved overseas. They were looking to find the cheapest labor possible, the lowest environmental standards possible. They don't care about the country. And when people understand that, then maybe we can start to change things around. But they don't care, and these guys don't care. They don't care. They're not going to preserve. They're not going to keep the U.S. dollar just because they're patriotic to America. They don't care. If a new cryptocurrency, a global cryptocurrency, looks good to them, goodbye America. They'll own it all. They'll be so rich they'll own it all. Anyways, back to the CFR thing. Skeptics say those ambitions are far from reach. However, a BRICS currency would require major political compromises, including a banking union. And my fault here, there is a banking union that they did create. I can't think of the name now, but if you look under BRICS and look at they have formed a bank. It's my bad, my oversight for not including this here. But it's there. Look it up. Union and general. They create a bank, a physical union, and a general macroeconomic convergence. The dollar, along the world's principal reserve currency, is still used in more than 80% of global trade, and many experts doubt that a new BRICS reserve currency would be stable or reliable enough to be widely trusted for global transactions. And I have in here, source CFR, September 12th, 2024. Now, the problem with that, and the yuan up there, is that since Trump's been in, the confidence of the U.S. dollar has diminished. The value of the U.S. dollar has diminished. He's basically gone to ostensible war with the NATO countries, with our long-term allies. So people are forming other unions, and with all of the tariffs that have gone on, people are starting to look at other solutions or other ways to lead or combine their might besides the U.S. It's like he's leading us down a long path towards who knows what. I can't blame the techno brats, the PayPal mafia, for being avid Star Wars and Lords of the Rings fans, as I am. But I suspect the natural progression of the billionaires is to become bored with hoarding ungodly amounts of money. Hoarding billions is so old school, but actually creating and distributing the money, now that's some serious continent controlling power. Whether Amschel Rothschild actually said it or not, it's a great line. Give me the power to create and distribute a nation's wealth, and I care not which puppet sits on its throne. That's a little bit too on the nose for this president we have now. No one is better prepared to create a global cryptocurrency than the techno brats that buzz around in Trump's three-ring circus. And it matters little that Trump threatened the BRICS countries with 100% tariffs if they dare try to usurp the U.S. dollar. And this is from CNN, September the 1st, 2024. President-elect Donald Trump said he would require countries that are part of BRICS, a China and Russia-backed group of emerging economies, to commit to not creating a currency or face 100% tariffs during his administration. The idea that the BRICS countries are trying to move away from the dollar while we stand by and watch is over. We require a commitment from these countries that they will neither create a new BRICS currency nor back any other currency to replace the mighty U.S. dollar or they will face 100% tariffs and should expect to say goodbye to selling into the wonderful U.S. economy. Well, it was wonderful. Trump posted on Truth Social on Saturday afternoon. I'm sure he means well, but he obviously doesn't understand the absurdity of trying to charge a 100% tariff on BRICS countries. As this piece is from as the piece I just read is from September 2024, I suspect he didn't consult with the technocrats or Uncle Putin before saying this. And now 6 weeks into his second coming, he has levied on again, off again, on again tariff punishments with Canada, Mexico, China, so many times that nobody can keep up, including that guy Dow Jones. He's threatened to invade Greenland, Panama, Canada, Mexico, and already has kidnapped Nicolas Maduro right out of his compound in Caracas, Venezuela. And presently, and for the foreseeable future, the United States finds itself in another war, probably a protracted war in the Middle East at Benjamin Netanyahu's prodding, this time with Iran. So I updated that last sentence from today. Obviously, this whole article is over a year old. When Trump finally gets clued into Putin's long-range plan, he will understand why his circle of billionaire friends are encouraging him to crash the economy, like no one has ever done before. When that happens, of course, the billionaires and millionaires are naturally going to buy up assets for pennies on the dollars as usual, but it will create a financial crisis that will need to be solved. Adding to this crash is a new unfathomable debt load created by new tax cuts for the billionaire class. See, they win. Money. 6 ways to Sunday. And I think our debt load right now is $36 trillion. Or the debt on that, or the interest on that it's ridiculous. Consumers, that's why they call us citizens these days, will lose confidence in the U.S. dollar and all national currencies because we will be told to welcome a global cryptocurrency as the only feasible solution. Now, let me stop here for a minute. There's a thing called the Hegelian dialectic. It's called thesis. Antithesis creates a synthesis. It's also called problem, reaction, solution. You create the problem, then you get the reaction, then you get the solution. The solution is what they're wanting is a new global currency that they're in charge of. That's the solution. So work backwards from there. You got to create the problem first, and then the solution to the problem, or the reaction to the problem. And the problem is the war and the petrodollar, all the diminishing respect for our dollar of our country, and then the reaction to that will be a global cryptocurrency. That's what it looks like. That's problem, reaction, solution. They do it over and over and over and over again. The ruling elite, they know how to play us, and they own all the media now, so it's getting easier and easier for it, even though we have access to the internet. And we access to all this information. A lot of people just don't know how to process it. They don't know how to analyze it. Anyways, back to my article. Many will parrot this illogic because this digital currency stuff is super cool. We're talking digital wallets, blockchain, high security that eliminates the bankster middleman. If you believe all that, what's not to like? For sure, there'll be a lot of technobrats vying for control over this new digital money empire, but the world's richest people, especially those who actually know how to write algorithms, can create money and maybe even fix elections, who own and control social media, cable, and legacy media narratives. They will be in the best positions to scoop up the lion's share of BRICS coins at their lowest price point, and these billionaires will become trillionaires. You think they are insufferable now, smug jackasses with their stupid haircuts and dorky dances? Wait until they combine their ability to create the global currency with control of total information awareness. And I'm talking here about Peter Thiel's Palantir and 24/7 pinpoint global person positioning via Musk's Starlink. That'll be fun. The series from 2011 to 2016 was called Person of Interest, was a bit ahead of its time. You will obey, and there's nowhere to hide. Interesting that Palantir hung a banner at Donald Trump's squeaky tank military parade that time. Palantir literally had their banner hanging there. It's getting weird, folks. So where does Trump come in, and why do they need him? If the mendacious media had halfway tried, everyone on earth would know that Trump has been a Russian asset since the 1980s. He wouldn't be occupying the White Kremlin. He would be in Guantanamo. in Cuba, a BRICS nation. Oh, the irony. Since the media won't tell you about Craig Unger's astonishingly revealing book of 2021 called American Compromat, about how Russia turned Trump into a prized asset over 4 decades ago, I will. The damning revelations in this book by the same author that gave us House of Bush, House of Sod, should have been used by Democrats to destroy any chance Trump would ever set foot on the White House lawns. Even without seeing the book cover, if you need any evidence, there might be a lot of truth that Trump has been a Russia's useful idiot since before the dissolution of the Soviet Empire. Consider how effectively Trump has divided this country. As Lincoln said, a house divided cannot stand. On a trip to Moscow in 1987, ostensibly to discuss the new Trump Tower in the shadow of the Kremlin, Trump returned home and took out full-page ads in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Boston Globe, criticizing the United States foreign policy. Trump has recently said he'd welcome a Russian invasion on a NATO ally if that ally didn't pay its fair share. Elon Musk is calling for the U.S. to get out of NATO today. Trump called Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator and said Ukraine attacked Russia. You all remember that. That was a long time ago. Then Trump and his Peter Thiel project, J.D. Vance, ambushed Zelensky in the White Kremlin and demanded he, in so many words, surrender eastern Ukraine to the murderous Putin regime and give us half your rare... Oh, hold on a minute. Then Trump and his Peter Thiel project, J.D. Vance, ambushed Zelensky in the White Kremlin and demanded he, in so many words, surrender eastern Ukraine to the murderous Putin regime and give us half your rare earth minerals. Send them directly to Elon Musk's battery factory in Texas. Oh yes, and don't forget to thank us, you ungrateful bastard. Fascism is not corporate rule, that's oligarchy. Fascism requires a note of political legitimacy. Although with unelected Elon Musk running Doge, purging federal employees willy-nilly, you might not think so. But Musk was once asked about being the world's richest person, and he said, no, not really. Putin is significantly richer than me. I can't go and invade countries. That, of course, was before he spent $250 million to assume the presidency while letting Trump play emperor. That Trump and none of his cabinet are qualified to run the United States government should be self-evident by now. To quell the unrest this mad power grab is going to set off, the technocrats will need an army, and it looks like they will have the Russian military at their disposal, and even the U.S. military. This is the question. Will people go apeshit and kick in Starbucks windows, or placidly engorge more Fox propaganda? After all, a Fox weekend host is now running the Pentagon, and Trump's daughter-in-law has her own Fox program. And as an aside, the Fox and White House is like this, back and forth to each other. It's amazing. A third possibility might be the availability of technobrats in the form of Musk's Neuralink plant, which will make all the transactions very convenient and secure. That's what they'll sell you on: convenience, security. In any case, as the titular head of the formidable BRICS alliance, Putin will be pleased with his project, Donald Trump. One thing is for sure. Trump's dismantling of the United States of America is setting the stage for a global, financial, and security state new world order, no matter how cliche that sounds these days. One global currency, one ring to rule them all.